let's get a little levity in here. On the Ragtime, my recent favorite.
Oh yeah, is that levity?
Yeah,
You have a similar sense of humor as I do. Then, if you could say.
A lot of people think it's funny when I play it for them. I'm like, you gotta check. This track is like, I'm telling you, man. This track is like, this is one for the records. Like, this is one for like. You really did it.
Well, thank you.
Number on this one. Because like the lyrics for whatever, I don't want to compare it to other shit, but I'm just saying, like, first of all, you said a lot of shit in this song. Secondly, it feels like very it just feels very self-aware, and it feels like very
definitely an attempt at self-awareness. Yes,
you're like, it feels very self-aware, and it also feels it's like witty and wry and like everything at the same time. It's glorious.
That was a funny moment, because we had done this session, and the guy asked, I think we had run out of stuff. And the guy asked, well, is there anything you want to sing? I mean, do you have anything basically he said, you got your notebook. Is there anything you want to sing? And I said, funny enough, there is. I have a poem in my notebook, a poem. It was kind of a rant, wasn't it?
Right.
I said, yeah, I said, I think I could pull this off. And if you listen to if you listen to it, you hear me turning the pages. I mean, there's no way I could have memorized.
And you're right. You're not really singing half the time. You're kind of talking.
No.
I hear Dylan's influence in that song. In a couple of years.
Yeah, maybe a little, maybe even like Randy Newman or something.
You go up at the end. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, who would it be? Alan, not Alan Freed. That's the DJ that broke rock and roll. What's his name? Anyway, but like a very beat era.
Right.
Piano. Like,
there's a couple of lines you say where you're like, I agree all the way. Our parents are to blame. You know, so like that's like a Bob Dylan feel to me.
I guess, yeah. Well, Bob, Dylan is very much from that same era, that 50s. I think I was more hearing. I think in my head, I was probably more hearing when Kerouac would recite poems. He was very musical. He has a nice sing-songy voice. Or even Tom Waits, for that matter. I think he listens. He also goes out of that.
Tom Waits has got it. That's the vibe. Tom Waits when he sings "Drunk on the Moon." You know that song?
Yeah. What's that one? I don't know the name of this.
I was just
put in
you were a bitch.
I'm drunk on the moon. I thought I heard a saxophone. I thought I heard a saxophone.
Yeah.
I'm drunk on the moon. It's like very Noir era sounding. And you could just feel like the 20s, I don't know what era, but the old timey kind of like everybody's hanging around talking about which horse is like the hottest bet, and
yeah, right. Well, that's what he loves.
So like that vibe, and then like, so I get a little bit of that from here, and it's like that ragtimey. Well, ragtime comes from what, the 30s, 20s, 30s.
Oh, ragtime, yeah, it's early. But I mean, I don't play proper ragtime. The people that are true piano players, if they hear my record, I'm very embarrassed.
I know you said that last time.
Yeah, I play in a style that is considered by Southerners to be, they call it the New York style of playing, and when they say that, they basically mean you don't play piano. New York has been known as a bunch of bullshitters for a long time. It's too bad that the U.S. is just catching up on the memo. We're known as being full of shit for many years. So,
but Art Tatum, wasn't he? Where is Art Tatum from?
Oh, I
Ohio.
don't know where he's from.
Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah, believe me, that the New York style. You're talking about. It's not that they weren't piano players, because Count. I don't know where Count Basie's from originally, but I think he hung out in New York. Duke Ellington's in New York.
Right.
But those guys, what they did is they didn't play basically Fats Waller. I think Fats Waller is the one that's probably responsible for the New York style term, because in the South they play octaves on the bottom. They go jang, don't jang, don't jang, don't.
That's what I'm saying. Like Art Tatum is like the baddest motherfucker alive. And like,
Art Tatum is beyond the ball. Art Tatum is he's a phenomenal.
He's not really Southern per se, is he?
No, he's like not human. Art Tatum is beyond. Art Tatum is like from another planet. He's from the piano planet. You know, like I remember when they asked, they said they were introducing Eddie Van Halen one time, and it was like his brother was introducing him or something, and he said, yeah, Eddie's from the planet where all they do is play guitar.
Right.
You know, that's the same with Art
Tatum. Just shred. They eat shredded licks for breakfast.
Yeah.
Instead of shredded wheat.
Yeah. But so my playing is really of this style that's the New York style. It's kind of a faker style. Yeah. And then so no, it's good. I'm proud of it. I stand by it.
I mean,
it's what I do.
To me, ragtime's ragtime. It's got the feel, you know.
Oh, I don't know. If you look into it, if you talk to people, go down to New Orleans, they'll take me apart. I used to play next to a guy called. I used to play sometimes. If
they're taking you apart, they're kind of assholes, aren't they? I mean, come on.
Well, you're talking about piano players. We're a bunch of assholes. You know? The great thing about piano, the reason why we're assholes, is because we can do it all ourselves.
Right.
We don't need you. People are like, we're like, yeah, I don't like the thing that you're playing, Vic. Can I play this thing? I'll be like, hey, honestly, if you don't want to play at all, it's fine.
You just fuck off. Nah, but I mean, people nitpicking here and there. That's just an ego thing. I mean, the point of music is, does it sound good, and is it achieving the effect? I mean, whether you're doing the octaves or not. I mean, not everybody's different. I mean, not everybody.
No, I agree. Of course, the thing is, if you do play the octaves, you put some effort in. You deserve the credit.
Well, nobody's see, when I listen to you, I'm not like, wow, he sounds like Art Tate. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not thinking that.
Right. You're not coming to me to hear the piano technique.
Right, exactly. I'm not expecting that at all. I'm like, he's playing bar piano.
Technique, I apologize.
No, I'm like, he's playing bar piano. I didn't even know you played bar piano, and I was like, that's cool. It's like, it's fun. You know what I mean? It's kind of like if we were in a bar. Like, I'd be totally digging that. Like, that's just, I don't care. Whatever. I mean, I'm impressed that you keep the bass line going with the chorus, because I'm like, I dabble, and you sing at the same time. That to me is like enough.
I played with Rancid for a while, the punk band Rancid,
right?
And they hired me to do a lot of playing here and there. And one time, it had been quite a while. I hadn't seen them for a while. And I got a call, and I went out. And I'm sitting there eating lunch with them, somewhere. And I said, well, thank you guys so much for having me out. I said, it's really been a while. And they said, we got to tell you, Vic, we were sitting in this Mexican restaurant, and there was this drunk guy playing piano, and we're all sitting there going, well, the record sounded pretty good, but what do we need? And then all we just keep hearing behind us is this drunk Mexican guy playing piano. And we go, Vic.
We need a drunk guy playing piano.
And needless to say, they always respected me and paid me well. So I have to say, thank you, Rancid. You gave me, and also gave the Slackers a lot of respect, and even took me very seriously at a time when no one took me seriously. Tim took my opinion seriously,
right?
Even, which was crazy for a guy that was, arguably he's a much richer man than I. He's made some better decisions in his life, but I don't know. But he told me one time. He said, "Yeah, I remember we were talking about this album, and I remember they were gonna keep one of the songs off of it. And I remember asking them, why would you possibly keep that song off of it? And they said, well, it's because it's a rockabilly song. And I said, you think the Clash would leave a rockabilly song off their record because it's a rockabilly song? I mean, they would just put it all on. If it was good and they liked it, it was probably going to go on the record. And he was like, yeah. And I think it's the second song on their record, on their Life Won't Wait. Yeah. He told me, he said, you were right, Vic. And I'm like, thank you. Because he also, God knows, I've taken a lot of advice from him too. He was a good buddy for a while. As it is with musicians, we drift here and there, so.
Well, I mean, it's the cool thing about being a musician is that you don't have to be. Nobody has to be Art Tatum or, like in my case, like Wynton Marsalis, or you don't have to be that good. You can just play beautiful music, and people who appreciate it, you create a little subculture, and then it is what it is. Like it doesn't have to be like compared to other things necessarily.
No. I mean, God, we started off our night with Dylan. I mean, as we said, Dylan, he wasn't known as being the greatest guitar player or the greatest musician, but he's got something. He's got something, and people picked up on it early on, and they got it.
And the non-pretentiousness is a big one, I think.
I don't know if that applies to Dylan.
I thought he was pretentious, but it was kind of like fucking with other people pretentious. I don't think he really thought that highly of himself. I thought he just was fucking with the media, and just like,
he's one of those guys that remains a mystery. He's a true mystery.
That's the way he wants it, probably.
Yeah. He's a master of mystery.
So let's get into this on the ragtime. I'm gonna pull these lyrics up. So I always think like I bring a song up and then you're like, yeah, I wrote that. It was about whatever. Like the Papa told me once. I was like, it's a sad fucking song, and you're like, really? And you're like, yeah, it was about.
No, I mean it is sad, but I'd rather. I guess the reason I answer like that is because I want to hear. I want to hear what it is.
You want to not put any ideas in my head, just hear the whole.
I want to know, because as we know, right now I'm actually doing some artwork while we're chatting. I like to scribble and stuff as I draw, and as I talk. And the last phone call I was on, I was scribbling something, and they said, "Don't tell me what it is. I want to look." And I said, "Yeah, sure." And it was lovely to hear the opinion of what it was, because it was not at all what I didn't have much intention.
Right.
But it wasn't what I saw. And then when I saw what they saw, it jived with what I saw, and I was like, "That's cool." So I like that. I like to leave it open. I'm quite a laissez-faire character. I believe in the magic that happens with not planning. Anyway, so sorry, I didn't mean to.
Well, so this interview is perfect because I didn't plan shit. No, I did. I planned. I tried to prepare myself, but off the cuff. You can't. All right, fuck all that. All right, gone but forgotten, forgotten not gone. Which one is better? Sing me a song.
Sing me your song.
One way it's a sob story, and the other it's bragging. One says they care too much, and the other is nagging. How do you like my Bronx accent, by the way?
I like it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
See, your childhood was the worst one that you'd ever seen, and I was the first that ever frustrated. It's just funny. They're just really, they're really like just honestly funny lyrics.
Well, I like that though. When your childhood was the worst one that you'd ever seen.
It's also the only one. It's the only one you've ever seen.
Exactly.
And I was the first ever frustrated teen.
That's right.
That's soaked in sarcasm. I like that.
I was indeed.
I could tell you the reasons for my predilections, suicide tries, and secret. That sounds very teenage to me. The suicide tries, because you're back.
Yeah, definitely.
This is why I think there's more to. Because you said this song is about bitching, but I think there's more to this song than just bitching.
Okay. Well, there's always there's truth in, what is it? They say there's truth in jest or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah. And then there's some Freud quote as well. He talks about, or it was either Freud or Jung, where they talk about the unconscious
Yeah.
betrays itself, like when you just
Oh,
kind of
yes.
let it go, you know. So if you're
Well, of
ranting,
course,
like
we're all children of. I mean, maybe you aren't. I don't know how much younger you are than I, but we were children of the psychological era.
right, post
Where
like you,
yeah,
where is the line? Where is it? You you pay for your uh. Well, we'll get there. There's a line about a psychologist. I finally got it. So
yeah,
I could tell you the reasons why you hate your life, your children, your husband, your job, your wife.
yeah.
Can you name for me every brick in the wall that made up the wall that surrounded us all?
It's good.
I like
It's
that.
good.
I like
Pink
that.
Floyd.
I got that. Yeah. The wall, and then the
I
surrounding.
always like because everybody in high school thought the wall was like. I mean, it is pretty great, but they were all like, "Whoa, that's like the deepest thing I've ever heard in my life." You know? And then you look back on it and you go like, "It is deep. It's not the deepest thing you've ever heard in your life, but yes,
I'm much
at
more
the time
of a
it certainly was."
I'm much more of a dark side of the moon kind of guy.
Oh hell yeah! I just listened to that going to sleep the other night.
That's my shit, man.
Ooh, I listened to a live version of it. Live.
Mm.
I have to say they do a fucking great job of it live. They're such a cool band.
They pulled me out of a bad trip one time. I was really having a bad time, and I just plugged in, and zoned out, and saved my ass, man.
It knocks me out because there are only 4 guys. That's what always totally blows my mind. It's like, and that's why I like to listen to the live version. Well, I was enjoying the live version because I'm like, there's only 4 guys on stage, and it's like they are doing this, you know.
So that's so that all seems pretty straightforward to me. The first 4 stanzas there.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
And I was a punk. Every time you say I was a whatever and you were a whatever, that's where I think it gets personal. Like that can't possibly be. I mean, it could be.
Well, pretty personal. I think it's me talking to someone that I feel is over complaining about their childhood, and I'm kind of working on this myself these days again.
Yeah, but why is it always? It's always like punk and slut.
Well, because that's what we were. I was a punk. You were a slut.
So is this about like you were talking to somebody specifically in mind? You had somebody specifically in mind?
I think I was speaking to someone in mind. I think I change people during the song. I think at one point it's a family member, at another point it's an old girlfriend. At another point it's probably a guy in my band. I don't know, but it's there's a thing that happens where we all I think we it's back to the psychology of all these things. Everybody tells you that their childhood fucked them up. Everybody's childhood fucked them up. Everybody's. But I mean, until I met people that really had fucked up childhoods, then I was like, I can't really say shit. So it was a little bit about that. It was like, okay, quit complaining. It's like we didn't get beat up that much.
Let's go to that line. But we didn't starve. There wasn't a war. Your therapist paid. I'm asking what for. That's a great one. That's it. It sounds like a bit of a song for the millennials. Yeah.
Definitely. Your therapist's paid.
I'm asking what for. But your therapist paid. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Or you paid your therapist? Maybe I got that wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, your therapist got paid. What for? You're supposed to be happy, don't you? I mean, it's a little bit of a naive position. You know what I mean? I don't want to say that like my position is utterly defendable. It's I'm being an asshole in the song.
Well, you're putting perspective on it. I mean, yeah, and you're being an asshole. Yeah, I get it.
Dylan said, "Don't take my words and turn it into a movement." And Mick Jagger too was like, I don't write. I'm not always myself in the song. You know, just because I sing about the devil doesn't mean I'm the devil. You know, it's like I can play the part. You know, and there's moods. You know, there's moods.
But you're also like, the thing is, like with the ragtime bar vibe, it's a vibe where you're not expected to take what you're saying seriously.
Good point.
It's like people are, you're drunk, you're just playing a song, and you're just putting quips in there, and then, but in that there's truth. It's always in there. You know what I mean? Like in Billy Joel's song, sing us the Piano Man. They put bread. They sit at the bar and put bread in my jar and say, "Man, what are you doing here?" Yeah.
Right.
There's always some truth.
And they had all those jokes in there. These are real estate novelists.
Yeah.
You know,
who never
or the guy who's
for a wife.
Yeah, or the other guy's talking with Dave. He's still in the Navy.
Yeah, and probably, and that's funny. Yeah, and he said, no. Billy Joel actually said these were real guys. These were like real. Yeah. So you know.
And it's very, it's tongue in cheek. It's also coded. You know, I always took the real estate guy and the guy in the Navy as being like, you know, what was going on there? Was it a little, you know?
Yeah. Well, he said, Billy Joel said he actually doesn't know what a real estate novelist is. And he said he interviewed the guy, but that's what he said. But like, he still doesn't know what that is.
Oh, I thought when he meant real estate novelist was that he was a writer that was working in real estate. Like if somebody would say, "What are you?" and he would say, "Well, I'm Vic Ruggiero, novelist." I'd say, "But when's the last time you published a novel?" Well, I haven't finished my novel yet. So what do you do? Well, I work in real estate. You know, like that's real estate. That's what I always took it as, real estate novelist.
Could be.
So you see, Billy Joel doesn't even know he's a writer. My God,
he's a monster. Yeah, that guy's a monster.
He's great. He influenced a lot of my writing, for sure. Billy Joel.
You're a man-hating bitch. I'm a bitch-loving fuck.
Yeah. I don't think Billy Joel would be proud of my lyrics in this.
You never know.
He might.
You never know.
He might say, "Oh man, this guy's good."
Here, you know what I really love? All right, at the end, you go through. It's like a rant. The whole song is about a bit of a rant. Mm-hmm. Before I get to the end, I do want to read the my favorite line at the beginning, which I quoted. Which one was it? Oh, there's just so many of the people you love that the numbers are great. Of the people you hate. Promiscuous sex and obsessed masturbation serve both as distraction and self-mutilation. That's who writes shit like that? That's fucking golden, man.
Thank you.
So
I speak the truth.
But that, like, if that feels like somebody must have said it before the first part. I mean, nobody's ever said the second part, definitely. But the first part, there's just so many of the people you love that the numbers are great. It sounds like it's almost like a one-liner, you know?
Yeah. I feel like it was the moment. These are things, you know, that strike you. That's why I carry a notebook around, you know? It's like, you know, I remember asking people, you know, there's a lot of people, you think they have a lot of friends. Turns out they don't have that many friends. They're always talking shit about somebody, you know? I mean, I don't know. It depends on how many unhappy people you're around in your life. Maybe I was having a spell where I was around a lot, you know?
The truest line in this, the one that really got me, was you're going on and it's funny and it's ranty and, you know, it's witty and it's some truth in there and whatnot. And then you say, "I know you can tell by the way that I smile, all contentment is caused by a sense of denial," which is funny, but really, really true. And
I like that.
The reason I went, that struck me again because of the conversations we had about guilt and Catholic guilt.
Oh yes, we did talk about guilt a lot. That was a theme. I remember guilt came up. Always feeling that. Actually, it's interesting because after the conversation we had first, I I took some time to look through some old recordings and things that I had, and I suddenly saw a lot of that needless guilt reflected in my work, especially in times that I was unhappy. Maybe times that I didn't even realize I was that unhappy. But it's really this kind of like needless beating up of yourself, this kind of like, it's an indulgence. It's an indulgence of sorts,
And you're like way into the Dostoevsky.
Oh yeah, well,
it isn't like, and I haven't read Crime or Punishment, but isn't the whole point is that the real punishment is the guilt that you feel?
Yeah, well, Crime and Punishment is great because I don't even know what the point is. The point of that book is the point is it worth the ride? I think that's the question. It's like, so is it worth the ride? And it's like, I don't know. I think that's a lot of those books. But yes,
you see a connection there, like your why you're drawn. I mean, I've heard lots of people say some really intense things about Dostoevsky. Like he's a really life-changing read. So I do intend to get up on it, by the way. But do you see a connection there with that guilt theme in the?
No, well, with Dostoevsky, there's not a whole lot. I don't see that there's a whole lot of guilt.
Your videos. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Let me plug my phone in. God, these Zoom calls eat up a lot of battery. This is one of those details of the Zoom culture.